Joining me right now is Florida Congressman, member of the House Ways and Means Committee and Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government. Greg Steube is here. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here.
Morning.
Your reaction to Joe Biden announcing this re-election bid?
Well, it's great for Republicans because his numbers are as worse as anybody as I've ever seen. A poll just came out. 70% of Americans don't want him to run for re-election. 51% of Democrats don't want him to run for re-election. And the DNC is even trying to do things to try to help him out because obviously he's not going to be good on a debate stage. He can't even go and actually do a presidential announcement like most presidents do for re-election. He had to record a video on a teleprompter and then post it on Twitter. So it's great for the Republican nominee to be going against all of the disastrous policies that Biden has had in his time as president.
Well, it's interesting because even as he runs for re-election, we understand that the DOJ is meeting with the lawyers of Hunter Biden this week. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but I want to stay on Florida for a second because, Congressman, what's going on in Florida? A lot of people expect Ron DeSantis to run for president. He's done a great job as governor. And yet increasingly we see Florida lawmakers siding with Donald Trump. Florida Congressman Carlos Jimenez becomes the 11th lawmaker in Florida to endorse Trump for 2024. The majority of the 20 GOP members from the Sunshine State have already chosen Trump over DeSantis. And we still haven't even heard from DeSantis. We've got a new NBC News poll asking GOP primary voters which candidate they favor. 46% said they choose former President Donald Trump. 31% picking Florida Governor DeSantis. What are your thoughts on what's going on with DeSantis there in Florida?
Yeah, and that's pretty much in line with the polling in my district. The polling in my district has Trump beating DeSantis by 20 points. And I have a great relationship with President Trump. Nobody can deny the America First agenda. And he is the only candidate that on day one can walk into the White House and right all of the disastrous policies in the wrong of this Biden administration. He can do it on day one. He's been there before. He knows what he needs to do to be successful. He knows the mistakes that he made in the past that he can improve upon to ensure that he puts the right people in place to do the job that needs to happen to get our country back on track.
Well, it's also the corruption. I mean, I had Asa Hutchinson on this program, and I said to him, look, a lot of people agree with what you want to do, but are you going to be tough on corruption? Are you going to be tough on that the way Donald Trump has been? Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan sent a subpoena to FBI official Jennifer Leigh Moore, charging that she refused to answer questions about the FBI's retaliation against whistleblowers. Congressman, tell me more about this.
Yeah, you know, Trump knows who he can trust and who he can't trust, so I have full confidence that he's going to appoint people to completely do away with the corruptness that we have, not just in the DOJ and the FBI, but in every level of the federal government. And we're going to bring that individual in, and I know that Jordan has subpoenaed her, or we're in the process of subpoenaing her to put her on the record on these questions. And you're going to see time and time again, as we walk through in the Weaponization Committee, subpoenaing individuals, you see the left suddenly freaking out, like Alvin Bragg tried to file a lawsuit to get us to not talk to a previous DA who doesn't even work for the department anymore because they're afraid of the information that we're going to elicit through the testimony and depositions of putting these people under oath and asking them very tough questions.
Well, we already heard from Mike Morrell because of the Republicans' effort to get him to talk, and he told us that it was actually Anthony Blinken who was the ringleader on that letter to call the Biden laptop disinformation. He stirred up the 51 spies who lied. The Wall Street Journal editorial board out with a new column this morning calling it Joe Biden and the 51 spies of 2020 because we're learning that the Biden campaign was behind it. They ginned up the disinformation about Hunter's laptop, Congressman. Tell us about that and what you've learned being on the Weaponization Committee.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We know for a fact that the Biden campaign was reaching out to these individual 51 intelligence officials to try to get them to sign on to a statement so they could try to have the statement to wave in front of the American people, oh, no, the Hunter Biden laptop story is disinformation, so they could have something to point to from the campaign perspective that it wasn't true, when in fact all of these individuals were working for the campaign, communicating with the campaign, doing this on behalf of the campaign, and we know now that all of that was false. The Hunter Biden laptop is not Russian disinformation. Everything on there is factual. And we're going to continue to get to the bottom of these type of corruption in the DOJ and the FBI on the Weaponization Committee in the next couple of years. And the American people are going to be completely surprised by the level of corruption that's in the DOJ and the FBI.
Unbelievable. Congressman, real quick before you go, you're on House Ways and Means. Are you going to get a vote this week for Kevin McCarthy's debt ceiling bill? He wants to try to put limits in spending. Joe Biden doesn't want to hear about it. Does the Speaker have the votes to pass that in the House?
I think the conference is going to come together on this. I know we're going to vote on it this week, so I look forward to doing that. I've been working with the leadership on that, and I think the conference is going to be together on this as we move forward and actually pass something that's going to curb spending, which the Democratic Congress hasn't done in the entire time that I've been in Congress. We have to cut spending to bring the deficit into control.
All right, we'll leave it there. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much. Greg Steube this morning in
too.
Florida. We appreciate your time. Quick break, and then Republicans rolling out new plans.